Okay, round two, in hope that this time it's going to work and the reception is going to be okay. So today I just want to talk a bit about Wild One 2 and the encouragement of more men into the group. And I've got Joel here because Joel was the only man at Wild One weekend 1. And it was such a fantastic experience. And let me just say a little bit about what my goal is with this. It's the divine feminine has become so much of a life force around us right now. And my real view and what I got when I was sort of sat with Wild One when I was bringing it together, it was something that was really sort of brought to me, and I hate to say the word channeled through me, but it was like, you need to do this work. And it came on the back of a really emotional divorce, and it was really a lifesaver. It was an amazing experience to be told what it is that you have to do, and finally feel that you have a real purpose of bringing people together. Not that I haven't done that throughout my life, but it's just been something that's been really powerful, and it felt really good. Now the divine feminine's always been, well, certainly recently been quite powerful. And my view of it is that that's all lovely and that's wonderful, but why aren't we coming together as a collective? Why aren't we coming together as the man and the woman and understanding each other? Because it seems that what's happening is the women are just going into this space of, a lot of the time, of fight, against the man, and they've done this to us, and we're living in the past and this energy of what was. And I know people might disagree with me there, and they feel the need to continue that journey, and that's brilliant, because the divine feminine does have space in this world, and so does the divine masculine. And I think as women we forget that, and we want a lot from our men. I've actually spoke to quite a few men, some of them being yoga students, and they've said to me that they're actually frightened to speak up to their women. They don't understand their women, and they would love a space to be able to share. And many men don't share. Many men don't feel the need to share. But what we observed at the weekend, we did originally have 2 men on, but one of them had to not come. But Joel still came, and thank God that he did, because what came up was just astounding. And women walked away saying, I wish my partner had been here and could have had his view heard, and also how it feels for a man to actually express himself to a big group of women. It's empowering, and it's empowering for the man, and it's empowering for the woman too, and we get a real understanding of who and what we're about. So I've got Joel here because really he is the one who needs to speak on behalf of the man, because the man, he was there. It's not for me to go, oh, this is how the man feels. So hello, Joel.
Hello.
Hello, Joel. Here he is. Say a bit about yourself first, Joel, because you do amazing work. So we don't want to forget that. And excuse me, I'm grabbing my water. What it is that you do at MPA, and give you a little bit about that first, if you feel like it.
So sure, yeah, thank you. So I've been in the personal growth field for about 25 years now. I've worked most of my career, cutting my teeth, was with Brandon Bayes in The Journey. I ended up teaching her work all around the world. Then in 2007 came up with MPA, which is non-personal awareness, a very simple way to stop taking things personally. And so I was teaching that all over the world from 2009. And so I've had lots of experience in that field. And one of the things that I think we're going to talk about is how bringing my perspective to the Wild One weekend comes on the back of my experience and my path, going from being very in what I would have called in the past, before the Wild Week, I would have called it my feminine side, to my masculine side, has been a big part of my healing journey, if you like. So that is a particular perspective that was useful to the group and was offered there and was great for me to share. But one of the things that when we've talked about it is to encourage people that, yes, may have done some work on themselves, or even if they haven't, it brings another dimension of that masculine perspective to the share. But yeah, that's what I'm about. And Joel Young MPA, pretty much everywhere on social media, and joelyoungmpa.com is my little plug.
Thank you.
Ask your questions.
I actually don't have any questions, but I'm written down. But I want to say thank you for your presence, because you created such an energy in the group, which would have been very different if it had just been 13 women in the space. So my thought was, really what I wanted to get from you was, and this is really talking to both men and women, as an understanding of what you got from it, that you felt brought that balance together when we were in the room, and the women were sort of even looking at you and wanting your opinion, because that happened quite a lot, although I was the facilitator, there was times when we were in group discussion, and it was really important to have the male view there. And I can't imagine what it would have been like otherwise if it was an empty space. We would have been making something up. Or they must have felt this. Or they must feel this. But because we had the male energy there, although it was tiny compared to what it could have been, it was valuable. So I want to understand from you, from the other side, because I was obviously in the 13 women, what it was. I know you don't mind me saying this, but you got quite emotional at some points.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And I don't know whether you felt quite alone because you wanted a load of men behind you or whatever, but how it was that how you felt in that sort of, I know you brought up with women as well, you've got sisters and stuff, but you're used to a female energy, but how did it feel in a group of, apart from me, strangers of women? And what it was like. I'm talking. I want you to talk.
Yes. So I think one of the things is, again, like in the spirituality, personal development field, it is the majority of people who show up at my seminars are women.
Yeah.
But what I got from the Wild On weekend, I was there as, in some sense, in support of you, but also definitely participating in it, was it created a space where that conversation could happen, and that was really, really amazing. In fact, there was so much in the weekend that was so amazing, but for me, that section was the most powerful. And
it was a Sunday afternoon section, I think.
Yeah, Sunday afternoon.
We did
what you call the Sun and Moon section. So, and it was really profound. And one of the things about it was, yes, in the beginning, I felt very vulnerable because there were 13 women and sharing very much from the feminine perspective. Yeah. There, without giving any personal details, there were sort of couples issues and sharing about the feminine perspective, and it started to bring up that masculine. Well, actually, you're not seeing this. Actually, you're not seeing this. Yeah. And so in the beginning, I was kind of I felt quite surprised. I'm used to sharing what I'm feeling, but that something in that energy had me kind of quaking, but really needing to speak. And what I found was, in some senses, one of the things that I often say is that when you actually let yourself be vulnerable and speak, you almost learn things that you didn't expect to say. So on one level, within myself, I heard myself say things, and when you hear yourself say something, you have a realization in that moment. And there was loads of space in the weekend for that across the board, but that was one big thing for me. And the other thing is I was really quite surprised at the obvious thirst from the women to hear my perspective.
Yeah.
Now, not my person. I mean, it was me, and I had my things to say. But what I got from it was that they were much more keen to hear than I expected. Yeah. Actually, what is your perspective on the situation? How do men really feel? How could we handle? I mean, there were some questions about. So how do we handle that better? And that was very nourishing for me to have an opportunity to share that, because I'm very passionate about, again, MPA is very much a relational thing. It's about relating, so it's a really big topic for me. But to have it received and to have that masculine perspective, and I did get very passionate at times about some things.
You did, yeah.
It was as a man, I found that very nourishing. And I said to them all, us men are actually quite simple creatures. Not to belittle us, but there are some really simple things that as women you could do to make your lives and our lives a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the point of this.
Why don't you do it?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
And so from our perspective, it's like you make it all so complicated, and that's not but it's like, just if you're really interested in getting what you want from men, here's the buttons you can press,
Yeah.
but you've got to actually do it.
Yeah.
And so to have that space, to have that conversation was really great. And then the other thing about having other men there, did I want a posse? It would have been great to have other men there. And
yeah, because the onus wouldn't have just been on you. You know,
Yeah.
they would have had even if they weren't speaking, the energy would have been there. And that's the aim, really. Even to get another couple of men in the room would change the dynamics again.
But also I think that, again, as I said at the beginning, I think I have a perspective based on me working in this industry, doing work on myself, and I think that there's perspectives that are really useful. That well, even another man who's in the industry wouldn't matter, but just another perspective would be really useful for me to hear, because some of the women's perspectives that were shared that other women found really useful. So why would it be any different for men? But also that there are there's different flavours of men, there's different flavours of women, and it'd be really good for there to have those other flavours in the room, which may in times have a very different perspective on me, but they still would get that kind of masculine flavour of it. So when Indra was saying that she really wants to encourage us to get more men, and would I come on and talk about it, I was like, hell yes. I mean, I'm going to be there next time.
So there's at least one man.
There's at least one man. I'll be the token male if I have to be.
Other men.
We're nurturing the other potential men to come along.
If you've just come on, this is we're talking about the second Wild One weekend, which is all about the fact that it's happening. It was an amazing experience last weekend, and we're just talking about the recruitment of more men. Because it's part of my journey is to bring the male and female together and not sit in this very popular divine feminine that is right now. And I'm very much in touch with my feminine side, but I also want to work with men, and I also connect with men, and I want to feel empowered around men, and I want men to feel empowered around me, and I want that balance, and I don't want to have that energy around me anymore. What I've suffered in the past, what many women have suffered in the past, it's time to change that. And so the Wild One is actually, people have said to me, I thought it was just for women. And it's like, it has never just been for women. It has always been open to the male and the female energy coming into the room. And we're just talking about the fact that, bringing it together for us to understand each other, not to run away from each other, is so important. That doesn't say that female groups shouldn't happen. It also doesn't say that male groups shouldn't happen. They should. It's just what happens when we come together. How do we understand each other? And I'm not just talking from a relationship point of view. I'm talking from how we work together. How do we really, and we do this on the weekend, is like we work with the sun and the moon energy, and we get to understand what their natural way is and what female natural way is. And I always say you can look at that, you can take it, you can work with it and love it, or you can look at it and go, okay, I'm going to throw that away because it doesn't resonate with me. But I feel that Joel, we were just saying about how did he feel speaking to 13 other women, and how was that in that space. But also I think where we were in nature, I chose a place that is very close to my heart in the Lake District, and it's also right in the middle of a woodland. So we've got the water running through, we've got the waterfall there, we've got all that wonderful energy. All the pictures that are taken that you see are mainly taken by Joel anyway, because he's got a love for photography. So how did that sort of, if you'd put the Wild One weekend in a church hall in the middle of London, say, or you put it in where it was, how do you feel the difference was, by putting it in the place that I chose? I know the Virgo rising in me needed the perfection. It's like, how did it feel being there in that space, as a man? Because you were in a very, well, the weather wasn't very feminine, but you were in quite a feminine environment, not just the women, but the actual energy around I thought was very feminine.
Interesting, because I would have said it was quite masculine.
All right, okay.
So, okay. But again, that's good. That's a reflection. To me, well, yeah, nature. We think of Mother Nature, the rest of it, but there's something. I mean, the word I would use atavistic about that place. Atavistic. In case you don't know what it means, is like it goes back to that kind of raw animal, human. Back to caveman type of thing. So because it's kind of got it's beautiful, but it's also kind of rugged and raw. The woods are raw. The waterfall was rushing fast, and all the rest of it. And there was that time that we all went out to do that task you said us, which I'm not going to give away. But I said I felt like a hunter, you know. So it gave me that. It brought out my man hunter.
We will be discussing that next time.
You know, and so that was really, really good. And I can't. I mean, again, that's been my experience. I can't see it anywhere else. But definitely, there's perfection in it. The fact that you have the amazing inside of the venue, and we had the roaring fire and just beautiful space and the windows, and you could see that you were in nature, although you were inside, and then be able to go out.
Yes, you went out whatever the weather, and it was weather.
It was snowing like Billy-O when we went out, but
it was weather.
we went out several times. But that was really, really important. I think it really, really added to the whole experience.
So, if you were to say, if you say to men, the men out there, about the weekend from because it has, even though I've never said that it is a weekend for women, because I never have, because I've never wanted it to be just a weekend for women. That was never the intention. It's come across as a very feminine weekend, and whether that's because of me, I don't know. But so coming from a male perspective, what would you say to the men that would encourage them, or, you know, even if they're just thinking about it, what would be, we know you're going to be there anyway, so even if you're the only man again, you will be, and you'll be present because you got a lot from it. So how would you express it to men? You know, how would you say, you know?
Well, I'm really glad you asked that, because that was coming up in me to say, because I know there's things that generally, as a man, you would look at it and go, nah. And it's really worth getting through that. So some of the things that could potentially put you off, which I'm going to encourage you to not let you be put off by. So it talks about there's meditations, and if you're not in, so a lot of men are into meditations. That's a great thing, but some are a bit, I don't think I can sit still. It's like the way that Indra does her meditations. She's brilliant facilitator of meditations, and that there's a very visceral, very sort of full-bodied experience you get, which you can just surrender into. I'd recommend that. The ones, again, I've done loads of meditation, I run meditation myself, all those kind of things, but I've always found Indra's meditations to sort of take me somewhere very deeply. Yoga's another thing that could scare you off. So she does bits of yoga here and there.
Actually, we had people in there that they'd all done a bit of yoga before, but they weren't regular yogis. We had a few yoga teachers there. But they actually did say that they had never experienced, even though they hadn't experienced much yoga before, they hadn't experienced yoga like it. Because I do come from a place of, let's just not take this seriously. Let's just wake the body up.
That's what I was going to say, because I generally get yoga-itis. You know, I'm yoga resistant. Went out with a yoga teacher for 6 years and didn't do any yoga apart from when I absolutely had to. So when I knew there was going to be yoga, that was one of the things I thought, I guess I'm going to have to put with the yoga. But I really fucking loved the yoga.
There's not a massive amount.
No, but there's stuff you did which was just so fun, and you know, I don't know, I really enjoyed that. So that's worth doing. Just so you know, guys, that if you do take up yoga in a big way, you can get really buff. So
you can.
So that's not been my path, but it's another plus.
Yeah.
But the main thing, I think, because I'm rambling on about this now, but I think the main thing to say to you guys is that piece on Sunday afternoon, even if none of the other stuff resonates, and I'm sure it will, despite what you think, that piece where you get to have that moment of really expressing yourself is so powerful. That is worth the money, the time, and the risk alone. And not only will it give you a chance to... Yeah, well, from a man's perspective, there's a risk. You know, am I going to look like an idiot? Am I going to be bored? Am I going to, have to share all this mucky emotion?
No, you don't have to share a thing.
Yeah, but these are the things that men do on their checklist before the weekend if they're not generally into this kind of thing. I mean, one of the things, can we talk about the new ticket thing?
Speak about what it is.
So one of the things that when we were talking about this, and thought it was just a really good thing to do, was to do a couples ticket. Because if you can come, like if you're a woman right now listening to this and thinking, will my man come? I'd love him to come. If I beat him up enough, he might come. Don't do that.
Don't try to
No, but really, if you can, if you're a man listening to this and you can come with your honey, with your other, trust me, that's going to be relationship changing in a positive way, or clarifying way at the very least. And it's something for you as a man, you will get so much from having that space held, where you can get to have your say, have your perspective heard, have your masculine self nurtured.
Yeah, so. I think yeah. So yeah, we're offering a discount for couples.
Yeah, so I think if you come as a couple, rather than paying individually, you save £50 on the early bird or on the main price, depending on when you choose to get it. But
yeah, so that's I was thinking of something to say there, and I've actually gone into what was I going to say? So yeah, because there was women there that had actually thought, it would have been nice to have my partner here, because especially if you're going through relationship issues, it's kind of nice to do the work with your partner. It kind of, like you say, you come to some understanding one way or the other. And also, it might just be space and time for you on your own as a man or as a woman.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, because it just come as a man. Come as a man if you're a man. It's good luck.
Come as a woman if you're a woman.
If you're a woman. No, I was going to say just not to bias it towards couples for men, because there's plenty of men out there that are single or their partners.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not.
So it's not about that. It was just to say, to encourage that. The other thing that I did remind me of just now is there's a section in that Sunday afternoon which, as a man, is really going to help you understand women in general. So I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yes. So, which again, one of the, I think the big challenges for us men is to fathom the
woman,
the fluctuating, changeable nature of women, especially in their cycle, and what you get. One of the pieces of this is, I wouldn't say it's a map. A man might see it as a map, but it's certainly a way to start to have more of an understanding. This is great for women for themselves, but also as a man, you can go, it's starting to make sense now, and that means, as a man, that means I can figure out how to best handle the situation, how I can start to, from my perspective, take it less personally, and understand that this is just a flowing dynamic, and that can be a massive aha, which again can be game changing in terms of sort of masculine feminine relationships. So again, to me, those two bits
are really good,
worth the time, money, and everything else is really amazing too.
Thank you, Joel.
You're welcome.
That's really kind of you to say all this, and I haven't paid him. I will do.
But we agreed.
It really is. But I just thought it was really necessary just to say hello to the men, and that's, to me, it's really important, and I think to a lot of women it is too. And it's time. It's time for change. Whatever that change may be, it's time for big change. And one of the things that I want is to bring us together, and that's my mission. So, yeah, please, it's all up now at silent-moon.co.uk. We just need to change the picture.
I need to put that
we need to do that now and
right
put the
now.
couples thing on, if you're considering it. It's under additional offerings, so it's the second one, and it's on October the 6th till the 7th in the same place. It's in the Lake District in the UK, and there isn't accommodation provided, so you have, which I love, because you don't have the space. You have the space and time away from everybody, which is kind of what is needed. And we have a Facebook group, so as soon as you pay, you'll be straight in on the Facebook group of the people who have done the weekend, and they're very embracing. They're beautiful, lovely people, very encouraging, holding their own space at this moment in time. And that group will be growing, and some of those people will be there also. So group...
Can I talk about the group?
The group is amazing because it was something, I will let you, it's something that came to me that, we need to put this together, not thinking that it was going to be as powerful as it was. And the energy in it is everything's been held by each one of them. They're speaking, they're sharing their vulnerabilities. It's this place of confidentiality, and it's just what we need to go with the weekend. It's perfect. So you'll be straight in there once you've booked. Go on, if you've got something to say.
I just wanted to say that what I've seen in the group. So from the first weekend when you first set it up, and people started to come into the group, there was a sense of connection and openness nurtured by you. You set the space in the group, which you did at the weekend as well, sort of really amazingly, so people felt they could begin to share and connect. What that did in terms of, I mean, the value is enormous in what people have got just from the group, and then from the group coming into the weekend, where people got a sense of already having got through that kind of icebreaker stuff and all the rest of it, meant that made the space possible for everyone to go, much deeper and come away from the weekend. And in the group after the weekend, there's been so many shares of how we all get to experience how the revelations have continued, the transformations have continued, the impact of the weekend. We get to share and be supported in how that is happening in their lives going forward. So I think that the group in itself is hugely valuable. So I mean, I always say you undercharge for it, but I think
there's no charge of the group.
No, not the group. I'm talking about for the weekend, because there's so much value in the group.
Well,
Well,
we've just had that conversation with the group. Because
but right now for WoW 2, it's the same price.
It's the same price, yeah. So so that's it. So from the man himself that was there, and that's what I wanted to say. The maximum I'm taking is 18 places. And we run the early bird until August. But if you're really thinking about coming, and you're serious about coming, then I would book sooner rather than later. I'm not saying that as a hey, you got to book now. We run it until August, and then the price will go up from the 1st of August. And I am only taking 18 people because it's a nice number. That's how many will fit in the room, we reckon.
Yeah.
And also, it's just I'm losing my memory today. It's like I've got stuff to say, and I'm like it's all that planting of my seeds today, my flowers. Like, yes, we've got some sun and we've got some spring. I'm now going out in the garden. Yeah, we have 18 places, and once they're gone, then I'll create a waiting list, but nobody drops out because it's so good. And they've experienced such some great stuff, and there is people already coming back to the next one in October. So thanks everybody, thanks for listening, and listening to Joel's point of view, and I'm really grateful you were there and to share with us. It was brilliant. It was fantastic. So thank you everybody. It's a wild one weekend for men and women on the 6th till the 7th of October. So love you loads and take care. Bye.